The subtle ways you're being misled right now. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to spot someone else's idols, but not your own? We look at ancient history, the golden calves, the Baal altars, and we think, thank God we're past that. But are we? We may not bow to a statue anymore, but we still bow. We bow to the approval of others. We bow to comfort, to status, to wealth. We bow every time we let the world define our worth instead of God. And in the book of Revelation, Jesus speaks directly to this, not as a distant warning, but as a mirror to our times. I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess. By her teaching, she misleads my servants. Revelation 2:20 NIV. The message is clear. Jezebel may be gone, but her spirit still speaks. Through every false promise of satisfaction that pulls your heart away from truth. The queen of counterfeit worship. Let's go back to the story of Jezebel. She wasn't just a queen, she was a culture shaper. She took what was holy and replaced it with what was hollow. She married King Ahab and imported the worship of Baal, a god of fertility, pleasure, and rain. It was seductive because it looked like progress. It felt empowering. It offered results. People thought, this is modern, this is convenient, this is how we thrive. Sound familiar? Our culture does the same. It tells us, success is your God. Fame is your altar. Comfort is your calling. And we start to believe that if we can just earn enough, post enough, achieve enough, we'll finally be enough. That's the spirit of Jezebel, not just in palaces, but in platforms, not just in temples, but in timelines. The seduction of modern idols. You see, idols rarely enter our lives looking evil. They come dressed in beauty, convenience, and logic. Money isn't evil, but when it defines your value, it becomes an idol. Fame isn't wrong, but when it becomes your identity, it owns you. Comfort isn't bad, but when it becomes your compass, you'll never grow. That's why Jesus warned, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Matthew 6:24 NIV. Idolatry is not about statues. It's about substitution. It's when something good takes the place of what's God. It's subtle, seductive, and socially acceptable. That's why it's so dangerous. The influence we don't question. Let's be honest. We live in a world that doesn't just tolerate idols. It markets them. Your attention is the new altar. Your data is the new sacrifice. Your comparison is the new offering. You're told to follow people, worship brands, serve trends. The algorithms don't care about your soul. They care about your screen time. We live in a world where Baal has been rebranded. His name is now influence. We've traded devotion for dopamine, purpose for popularity, conviction for convenience. And the most chilling part, we don't even realize we're worshipping. Elijah's stand, the fire that exposes the false. When Jezebel promoted Baal, one man stood up, Elijah. One prophet, outnumbered 450 to 1. One man versus a system of seduction. And he said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. 1 Kings 18:21 NIV. Elijah didn't debate, he demonstrated. He didn't argue for God's existence. He invited fire from heaven. And when the fire fell, the people finally saw what was real. That's what happens when truth enters deception. It exposes, it clarifies, it burns away the counterfeit. Our world doesn't need louder arguments. It needs clearer fire. It needs men and women willing to say, I will not bow. You can't change culture by cursing it. You change it by refusing to worship what it worships. Modern fire. What it means for us. You might say, but I'm not worshipping Baal. No, but maybe you're worshipping the paycheck that defines you. Maybe you're bowing to the comfort that numbs you. Maybe you're addicted to the applause that distracts you. The fire today isn't literal, it's internal. It's the moment you realize your worth is not determined by likes, status, or possessions. Paul wrote, "Therefore, my dear friends, flee from idolatry." 1 Corinthians 10:14, NIV. He didn't say, manage it or negotiate with it. He said, flee. Why? Because idols don't just steal your time. They steal your identity. They whisper, you are what you have. You are what people think. You are what you achieve. But God whispers something different. You are mine. You are chosen. You are enough. Before you ever perform. How idolatry creeps in. Idolatry rarely starts loud. It starts logical. It says, just focus on your career right now. Just post what they want. It's good exposure. Just bend your values a little. It's not that big of a deal. But before long, compromise becomes culture, and culture becomes captivity. That's what happened in Jezebel's time. People didn't wake up one day and say, let's betray God. They just drifted, one decision at a time, until truth became irrelevant and convenience became king. The drift is real, and unless we wake up, we'll serve idols and call it ambition. The truth that shakes us. In Revelation, Jesus confronts a church, not a pagan temple, for tolerating the spirit of Jezebel. He says, I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel. Revelation 2:20, NIV. Notice the word tolerate. He's not talking about rebellion. He's talking about complacency. We don't have to worship false gods to offend God. We just have to stop noticing when we do. Tolerance feels like love. But sometimes, tolerance is just fear in disguise. We tolerate idols because we don't want to lose comfort. We tolerate lies because we don't want to lose approval. We tolerate distraction because we don't want to face conviction. But the moment you tolerate what offends your spirit, you trade your power for peace and end up with neither. Choose whom you serve. Joshua once stood before the nation of Israel and said, choose this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24:15, NIV. That's not just a verse, that's a declaration, a line in the sand, a decision that says, culture will not define me, calling will. And maybe that's what you need to say today. Maybe you've been chasing the idol of control, and it's exhausting you. Maybe you've been chasing the idol of fame, and it's isolating you. Maybe you've been chasing the idol of comfort, and it's weakening you. Whatever your Baal looks like, it's time to break the altar. Breaking the modern altar. How do we break modern idols? Not by deleting our phones or quitting our jobs, but by reordering our hearts. When God is first, everything else finds its rightful place. Money becomes a tool, not a master. Fame becomes a platform, not a prison. Comfort becomes rest, not an excuse. That's why Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Matthew 6:33, NIV. God doesn't want to take from you, he wants to set you free. Because idols promise more, but always deliver less. They give you attention, but rob you of peace. They give you applause, but steal your authenticity. Freedom doesn't come when you get more. It comes when you need less. The Elijah generation, standing in a compromised world. We need an Elijah generation today. Men and women who won't be bought by trends or silenced by fear. People who refuse to bow, even when it's unpopular. You don't need a title to stand for truth. You just need courage. You don't need a stage to make impact. You just need conviction. God's not looking for the perfect. He's looking for the faithful. Because every time someone chooses integrity over influence, purity over popularity, faith over fear, another idol falls. The inner battle, who sits on the throne? At the end of the day, idolatry is not about what you own. It's about who owns you. Every heart has a throne, and every day something tries to sit on it. Pride, fear, greed, insecurity. But only one king deserves that seat. When God sits on the throne of your heart, you stop striving for validation because you already have His. You stop chasing love because you're already loved. You stop bowing to the crowd because you've already been crowned. That's the antidote to idolatry. Not more effort, but more surrender. A culture of worship, not worshippers of culture. When Elijah called down fire, the people fell to the ground and cried, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." 1 Kings 18:39, NIV. That's where revival begins. When we stop saying, "I am enough," and start saying, "He is enough." You don't need to burn out trying to be a god. You were never meant to be one. You were meant to be loved by one. So build your life around something eternal. Build it on truth, on purpose, on worship that outlasts the trends. Because when the lights fade, when the applause stops, when the money dries up, the only thing that remains is what you built on God. The modern Jezebel ends here. So here's the challenge. What are your modern idols? What have you tolerated for too long? What's stealing your worship, your time, your peace? Break the altar, tear it down, before it tears you apart. Because the spirit of Jezebel still whispers, "You can have it all without surrender." But God whispers louder, "You already have everything, if you have me. I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel." Revelation 2:20, NIV. It's time to stop tolerating. It's time to reclaim your worship. It's time to stand in a world that bows. Your modern idol can't save you, but your God still can. Please like and subscribe to this channel for motivational stories from the Bible.